If you want to create a life that's truly yours, not just a life you end up with, you need one thing: strategic thinking. Because without it, life doesn't feel like something you're building. It feels like something that just happens to you. Remember those nights when you're lying in bed, wide awake, thinking, how did I end up here? You replay decisions, missed chances, weird detours. You imagine where you could be if you had just done that one thing differently. And then it hits you. You're not lost, you're just winging it. And that's the problem. Most people don't live intentionally. They wake up, go to work, scroll through life, and hope things magically work out. But hoping isn't a strategy. Today, that changes. We're going to break down how to use strategic thinking to stop drifting and start designing a life you actually want to live. Why you feel stuck. Let's get real for a second. If you feel like your life is on autopilot, waking up, going to work, watching news, but never really moving forward, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's not your fault. We're taught how to follow rules, how to memorize, obey, and stay in line. But rarely are we taught how to think, especially not how to think strategically. Now, strategic thinking might sound fancy or reserved for CEOs and football coaches, but really, it's simple. It means don't just react, stop, be in silence, zoom out, and look at the bigger picture. Then plan. Ask yourself, what's really going on here? What's the big picture? What outcome do I actually want? What small step moves me closer to that? That tiny pause, right there, is everything. Because the moment you start thinking like a strategist, everything shifts. You stop getting pulled in 1,000 directions. You stop chasing distractions and start chasing results. And that's the beginning of real change. Start with this one powerful question. Here's the first tool in your strategic thinking kit. What would future me thank me for? Sounds simple, but it's huge. That question forces you to zoom out. It shifts your focus from instant comfort to long-term gain. Think about it. You're tired. You want to skip the gym. But what would future you want? You're tempted to reply to that text you know you shouldn't. But what's the move future you would respect? You're thinking about watching another episode at 1:30 a.m. But what would 7 a.m. you say about that? When you consistently start asking that question, you build a superpower, delayed gratification with a direction. It's not about being perfect. It's about shifting the weight of your decisions from what feels good now to what builds the life I actually want. Don't just set goals, set systems. Here's where most people mess up. They write goals on paper and expect magic. I want to get fit. I want to make more money. I want to travel more. That's great. But goals without systems are just wishes. Strategic thinkers flip the script. They don't focus on the outcome. They focus on the strategy. Instead of saying, I want to get fit, they build a repeatable process. Wake up at 6:30. Work out 3 times a week, non-negotiable. Meal prep every Sunday. Sleep by 10:30. No screens after 9. See the difference? The goal is just a result. The system is the habit machine that makes that result inevitable. And the best part? Systems reduce decision fatigue. You don't have to think about it, you just run the play. Use the power of subtraction. This one's a cheat code, and most people skip it. Strategic thinking isn't just about adding more good stuff. It's about removing the things that quietly sabotage you. Think of your time and energy like a garden. If you don't pull the weeds, the good stuff doesn't grow, no matter how much you water it. Look at your life. Be brutally honest. What are the things draining you? The people who always need something but never give anything back. The bad habits that steal your focus. The fake urgency that makes you feel busy but not productive. Start subtracting. Delete the apps you scroll without meaning. Limit the conversations that are meaningless. Cut the commitments that don't align with your direction. Every no is a strategic yes to something that matters more. Play long-term game with long-term people. Here's something not enough people talk about. You can't build a strategic life around people who are addicted to short-term thinking. You want to grow, to evolve, to stop making the same mistakes and actually level up? Then you need to audit your circle. Strategic thinkers surround themselves with people who challenge their complacency, people who hold long-term vision, not just short-term vibes, friends who say, let's build, instead of let's just chill. People who are okay saying no to temporary pleasure for long-term progress. It's not about cutting people off with cold judgment. It's about choosing alignment over nostalgia. The people around you will either accelerate your growth or keep you stuck in loops you've already outgrown. Choose wisely. Anticipate problems before they happen. Here's where most people fold. They set a goal, hit their first roadblock, and panic. Strategic thinkers don't hope things go well. They plan for when they don't. They expect friction. If your plan only works when you're perfectly motivated and everything goes your way, that's not a plan. That's a fantasy. So, think ahead. Want to build better habits? Cool. What will you do when motivation dips? When you miss a day? When you feel discouraged? Build the fallback plan before the fall. Want to save money? Great. What's your move when an unexpected bill hits? When friends pressure you to spend? The point isn't to avoid problems. It's to stop being surprised by them. Preparation turns chaos into curveballs, and you can hit a curveball if you know it's coming. Zoom out, always. Here's a simple but powerful practice that will honestly save your sanity, especially in moments of chaos, stress, or decision fatigue. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by your endless to-do list, whenever you catch yourself stuck in the same loop, whenever you're unsure what to do next, or feel like everything is urgent, zoom out. Seriously. Stop whatever you're doing and take a step back. Because in those moments, most of us default to asking, what do I feel like doing right now? But that question keeps us stuck in short-term thinking. It keeps us reactive. Instead, try this. Ask yourself, what's the big picture I'm actually building toward? That one question realigns your focus. And if you're stressing over something small, just ask, in 5 years, will this even matter? That shift pulls you out of the fog. It helps you breathe again. It reminds you that not everything deserves your attention. When you zoom out, everything changes. You stop reacting to every little problem like it's the end of the world. You reconnect with your strategy. You realign with your values. And most importantly, you move forward with purpose, not panic. You don't need all the answers, just a direction. Here's the part that brings it all together. Strategic thinking isn't about having the whole map laid out in detail. It's about choosing a direction and taking the next step. You don't need to know how it all unfolds. You just need to move with intention, learn as you go, and adjust as needed. Because clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Strategic thinkers aren't fortune tellers. They're pattern spotters. They pay attention. They reflect. They pivot. They don't need to see the whole staircase. The next step is enough to keep moving forward. The life you want isn't random. It's built. So, next time you catch yourself floating, reacting, surviving another week, pause. Ask better questions. Zoom out. Act with intention. Because the life you want, it's not something you find. It's something you build, one smart, strategic decision at a time. Start thinking long-term. Start cutting what doesn't serve you. Start surrounding yourself with people who want to win. You don't need permission. You need strategy. You've got this. Now go build the life you want.